Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an Oath of the Crown Paladin multi-class with the Circle of Stars Druid in Baldur's Gate 3. Oddly, a pretty decent multi-class here because the Oath of the Crown Paladin gets the ability to get Spirit Guardians, and then with the Star Druid we can do bonus action radiant damage to further stack up radiating orbs. So this works as a great defender for the party. We'll first start off here as the Paladin with the Oath of the Crown. This gives us Righteous Clarity, which can add a +4 bonus to a target's attack rolls. This is actually really good if you have a teammate that has a great weapon master, because then this will offset that quite a bit by giving a +4. And then also we got our Oath of the Crown tenets, which are really easy to break. As for ability scores, I think this is best done as a dexterity-based Paladin because we can wear the Luminous Armor here, which is a medium armor, but we can also add our dexterity modifier to that, +2 only. So 16 dexterity works well. We also got our constitution at 14. You can also swap that around, put your constitution to 16 there and go with a 14 dexterity early on in the game. So whichever you prefer. I think it's better early game to go with a lower dexterity, and then later on we can do this for better initiative. And then we got 16 charisma. Now another thing is if you got a dump stat, you can use Gloves of Dexterity or the Constitution Amulet later on and put more points into our Wisdom. Though it's not fully required, we're going to want to have a decent bit of Charisma here. But our main stat is actually going to be Dexterity for our weapon attacks. And I would recommend Fowler Aloof for weapons, but I'll get into weapons later on in this video. And once we hit level 2, we get our most valuable ability with Divine Smite, adding a 2d8 radiant damage. This can be upcast. It's good. Smites are good. For our fighting style, I'd actually recommend defense. It'll give us a +1 to our armor class. Dueling's okay too. It'll give you +2 damage on your attacks when wearing a shield or not wearing a shield, but I do think defense is the best choice. And for the spells, I would recommend grabbing the command spell. It's going to be one of our most effective spells. And alongside that, it's never a bad choice to have the smites, although you're not likely going to use them. Thunderous Smite can be nice to knock people down. Bless is also really great for concentration. You can give a target a 1d4 bonus to attack rolls and saving throws. That is pretty effective to have. Into level 3, this is when we get our subclass features with the Turn the Tide, shout out and heal all nearby non-enemy creatures. This is a decent heal, but the big one is the Champion's Challenge. So you can challenge the enemies around you, compelling them to attack only you. Any other attacks they have against your other teammates will be made with disadvantage. This is a bonus action. What's nice is we can stack Radiating Orbs, giving the targets up to -10 to their attack rolls, and then pop Champion's Challenge. Then they're going to try and hit us. They're not going to be likely to hit us. Or they will, but we got pretty good defenses. We also can't be diseased, and then we get ourselves Command and Compelled Duel. So we get, obviously, removing Command there. We already got it. So then you can add in against Cure Wounds and have the Shield of Faith. Nothing super necessary here that we do need. I guess you could also add in like the Divine Favor if you really want to, but we'll roll with this here. Level 4 gives us another prepared spell and a feat. And I would actually recommend at this point, the alert feat for the +5 to initiative is really useful to have because going first is nice. However, you can go with an increase to your dexterity or an increase to your charisma if you find that necessary. I think that a higher dexterity is good for the better weapon attack rolls, or if you want to increase your charisma for better spell casting on things like command, you could go that route as well, especially if you're the face of the party. At level 5, we get our extra attack, and we get an oath spell, spiritual weapon. So this is really nice because now we get another bonus action ability, which will create this spiritual weapon, which is always prepared and will always be alongside us. The Maul is the best one because this can apply dazed on the target. When a target is dazed, they have disadvantage on wisdom saves, so we can hit commands more freely. The extra attack, though, is really nice. And then we can take things like our Branding Smite. Aid's not a terrible spell to have because it gives your teammates extra health. At level 6, we get the Aura of Protection. This is another reason it's good to invest in your charisma because it'll give a +4 bonus to saving throws, which is great because you can pop this up. It's permanent, and it'll give your team a nice way to save themselves. 3-meter radius, though. It's a big thing. It's not very large. And for our spells, you can go with protection from poison or lesser restoration. Nothing super necessary there. Most of our spell slots should be going towards Divine Smite. Level 7, this is actually kind of funny. Just be mindful of using Divine Allegiance. So if an ally is within 1.5 meters of you, very small radius I might add, you can use your reaction magically substitute your own health for your allies taking the damage instead of them. This will make it so you take that damage, but radiant. Now, there's one thing. If we have any gear that procs off radiant damage, like the Luminous Gloves, it'll apply Radiating Orbs on ourselves. But on the flip side, if we have a way to reduce the radiant damage that we're taking, it'll reduce the damage that we should take. So if we have radiant resistance for a potion, or elixir I should say, you're going to be able to take half the damage. So that can be kind of useful. I don't find myself using it a terrible amount, but it's there. You do have to be really close to your teammate. Next level, we can go with the Warcaster feat if you want to give yourself a reaction to cast Shocking Grasp and advantage on saving throws. Polearm Master is nice if you really want to use like a glaive, halberd, quarterstaff, or spear. And even the Savage Attacker to reroll your damage die, which is nice because we can do smites and reroll those. But I think that the alert for the +5 to initiative is likely one of the best choices, or an increase to our charisma all the way up to 20. Your choice there in the preference, but I think alert or charisma is probably the best. Level 9, we get our most powerful ability with Spirit Guardians, and this is huge. So this can do a radiant damage around us of 3 to 24 radiant damage. This can apply radiating orbs. It can also apply things like the Boots of Stormy Clamor, because whenever we pop this as a condition, the half movement speed counts as a condition. So all the gear that procs when we apply a condition will proc with this. And for the level 3 spells that we'll be grabbing, I guess Revivify is not a bad one to have. Elemental Weapon is nice because we'll give you an elemental damage type of your choice on a weapon. Does require concentration though. And we can also grab Blinding Smite, which does additional radiant damage and can possibly blind our targets. Again, this does use a bonus action, so you're likely better off using just a regular old Divine Smite. Those give Vitality, Warden of Vitality, but Spirit Guardians is really the biggest benefit of this. So, level 10 gives us Aura of Courage, not as good as taking the Druid, which can give us some nice cantrips. Now, Produce Flame is nice because we can create a light for our team. This light is actually nice because we can pop this up, and it's actually going to proc a lot of our gear. So you can actually use this, and it'll last until long rest. This applies really well in this because there's lots of gear that'll apply radiating orbs when we're illuminated, and Produce Flame can make you illuminated, kind of like the light cantrip, but permanent in your hand, and it looks cool too. Shillelagh is nice if you want to use a torch for extra damage. Thorn Whip can sometimes have its usefulness. Resistance will give a 1d4 bonus to saving throws, is okay. We got Bless, and Guidance can give a bonus to ability checks. Nothing super necessary there. I would recommend grabbing Creator Destroy Water. If you have a lightning team member or a cold damage team member, this will double their damage, so that's nice to have. Thunder Wave for the pushback can be useful, although I did put our points from Constitution, because I'll use the Constitution Amulet, into Wisdom, so that doesn't really give us a high Constitution way of landing our spells, but it's something. And then Healing Word for a bonus action ability to heal our teammates. Long Strider is another nice movement, or another nice ability if you don't have another team member that has Long Strider. It's a ritual, so it doesn't take our spell slots. Level 2 of the Druid, we get the Starry forms, which is huge because then we can go into our Dragon form, giving us, so when we make a saving throw to maintain concentration, a roll or 9 or lower is considered a 10. So we're much more likely to save on our concentration, and we can also do Dazzling Breath, which has a pretty big radius. We also get Guiding Bolts, so some more radiant damage. That's good. And Fog Cloud's another nice option there, but Long Strider is probably the best thing to give if you don't have a teammate that already has it. And level 3, now there's a couple ways. We could take another level of Paladin, which will give us a Lay Hands charge, and a level 4 spell slot. This will give us a level 4 spell slot either way, but then we can get access to the Druid's level 2 spells with things like Hold Person that we normally can't get as a Paladin, which is really nice to have. And then at this level, I guess we'll reapply our spells. Moonbeam from Sanctuary can be kind of nice. Spike Growth's not bad for concentration because it'll create difficult terrain, although it's probably better to have the concentration on Spirit Guardian, so that's something to keep in mind. There is the passive of Trace if you want to buff up your team's stealth. Flame Blade's kind of cool because it'll give you a fire sword that deals pure fire damage, although it's not that really effective. I guess Spike Growth because it is kind of it's situational. Hold Person will be the best spell that we get from there. As for gear, there's a lot of really great gear options for this build. I like the Holy Lance Helm because whenever a target misses you, it'll take a 1d4 of radiant damage if they fail a dexterity saving throw, which will further stack our radiating orbs. And the Luminous Armor, whenever the wearer deals radiant damage, they cause a radiant shockwave, which makes a radiating orb a blow-up explosion in 3 meters radius, so it can hit multiple targets with that. The Gloves of Belligerent Skies here are nice because you can deal radiant damage with Divine Smites, Thunder, and Latent damage with a few of our other spells. And whenever that happens, we apply 2 turns of Reverberation. And then also the Boots of Stormy Clamor will apply Reverberation. Although I think the better option here is to actually use the Luminous Gloves. Whenever the target deals radiant damage, the target receives 2 turns of Radiating Orbs. So boom, we got both of these here. And then we also got the Coruscation Ring. When the wearer deals spell damage while illuminated by a light source, they inflict Radiating Orbs upon the target for 2 turns. So Radiating Orbs all the way through. And then Reverberation, which can knock the target prone. And we can pop all of this up with our Spirit Guardians. So yeah, we're going to apply a lot of Radiating Orbs, as you're going to see. And another nice benefit is the Fowler Louvre weapon here can do the Shrieking Song, which will apply additional thunder damage to the target, so the Gloves of Belligerent Skies can really stack up your reverberation really quickly. Viconia's Walking Fortress for the better armor class, survivability. Hellrider Longbow for the +3 to initiative. We're not going to use it anything outside of that. Amulet of Greater Health is nice too, just for the extra healing there. Although if you got the Periaptic Wound Closure, that'll keep you alive a lot longer, so that can be kind of useful to have. But I do think the Luminous Armor is the best in slot. If you want to go with another heavy armor, you feel free to, but it doesn't beat the Luminous Armor's Radiant Shockwaves, which will protect your team. And essentially, every time that you apply Radiating Orb, that's almost like you're increasing your armor class by 1. So yeah, you can apply it for the entire team, and I think that that is much better to go with because it's just a very OP item. This is the best uncommon item in the game. If you don't want to use the Holy Lance Helm, which is really nice to continually reapply Radiating Orbs, the Helm of Baldur is great in the late game. And then even something like the Mask of Soul Perception, or really anything you can find. Haste Helm early game works well. The Diadem of Arcane Synergy, whenever you're inflicting addition, which Radiating Orb counts, we get a Arcane Synergy for 2 rounds, which means we add our Charisma modifier to the damage. So that's a +5 to our attacks, which is nice if you don't want to use the Holy Lance Helm. And then there's also a ring, which will proc off of that. The best race for this is actually to play a High Elf, because then you can get Booming Blade. I would have loved to have taken a single level dip in the Warlock or something to get that, but I didn't think it would fit thematically for this, so that's why I didn't take it, but it is a good option to go with. You always want to have your aura protection popped up and ready to rumble. But not only that, we want to pop Produce Flame too, because you don't have to throw it. You can throw it on the next turn for free. It doesn't take an action. It does 3d8 of fire damage. But that's not the reason we're doing it. The reason we're using Produce Flame is now we got a way to reliably give ourselves a light source. It's 9-meter radius of light, which is bigger than the light cantrip itself. But the big benefit of this is whenever we pop this up, we now have our Coruscation Ring applied, because this will count as being illuminated by a light source. So really good. So I'll show you what this looks like in actual combat. Also, you can use a Staff of Spell Power or an Illithid ability free cast to give yourself a free casting of an upcasted Spirit Guardians, because we only have 1 level 4 spell slot, but we can pop that down ourselves, and this will give us that 48 radiant damage, which is a little bit better. And you can also apply your Starry form from the Druid too before you get into combat, because this will last until long rest, so always have that up before you get into a fight. So now we're glowing with a blue fiery hand, we got our Starry form up, and we got our Spirit Guardians. Now what we want to do is protect our team. So boom. Yeah, sometimes you will take out targets with that. But the nice thing about Spirit Guardians, if you got Call the Weak, you turn into a Beyblade. Call the Weak is an Illithid ability, and every time that you power it up, it increases the amount of damage you can deal with it, which is really good. But you can see there, we already got a turn of Radiating Orbs on this target, and they really haven't even taken damage from us yet. So you can run around trying to get into positions where you're going to apply that. You can see there's 6 stacks of Radiating Orbs and 2 stacks of Reverberation. That's exactly what we want to do. So try to run around applying as many as you can to all the targets in the area without proccing any opportunity attacks. It's going to apply 4 stacks of Radiating Orb if you run near them. And then also make sure that you do have your Paladin reactions on, so you can use Divine Smites on your just main attacks and critical hits. I wouldn't use your level 4 slots on it, and be cautious of using your level 3 slots on it, because it will burn through your highest spell level first if you just do a normal attack. But then you can just go ahead here and go with a radiating attack like that, which was enough to take out that target. But the thing is, you're going to apply a lot of Radiating Orbs on the target otherwise, so that can be good. We want to try and stack as many Radiating Orbs as possible, so getting into position to attack with it, 4 stacks there, and then we'll go with just a single level Radiating Orb, boom, and now that has 8 stacks of it on the target. And if you can set up a Dazzling Breath, that's just going to further stack the Radiating Orbs on the target, so that's really good. We don't even have to worry about opportunity attacks as much, because when they have a -8 to their attack rolls, you can see there, they miss those attacks all day. So then we can get in a position to do an even better option here. So we got our Radiating Orbs stacked on the targets there, 6 stacks, and then this has 6 stacks is now just for moving. And then we got our Dazzling Breath bonus action, which we can pop, which is going to now do 10 stacks of Radiating Orbs. So these targets are pretty much not likely to hit anybody. So we can proc opportunity attacks all day. You can see there, they're not hitting those. They do lose 2 stacks of Radiating Orbs every time that you move out of their range. I'm just doing it for, oh, we did get hit there, but we can return fire with that, which is going to further stack Radiating Orbs on them. And then we also got any type of spell or cantrip that we want to use. I'm just going to do a normal attack here, which will expend a spell slot to do a Divine Smite there, and then we'll finish off this target here, which is great. Yeah, a lot of extra damage on that. The best part about this is how many -2 attack rolls that we can apply on the enemy. Another nice thing is if you have the Illithid ability Sonic Backlash, this will also stack Radiating Orbs because it counts as a spell attack. So if you have the Coruscation Ring, it works on it. Now the spiritual weapons are really good, especially as I mentioned them all, because it can daze a target. So it's not a high success rate. We hit the target and we daze them there. So see, it does happen on occasion. So if we have a command, if we try to use command, we're much more likely to land it. And this fire elemental already has 7 turns of radiating orbs just by running near us, and then it also got hit with the reverberation, which is why it has so many stacks of radiating orbs, because reverberation we can stack easily as well. But we want to run around again. Spirit Guardians is nice because, yeah, it's just going to continually apply it. You see the thunder damage, that's the reverberation stacking up. So, extremely effective. We're good at taking out multiple enemies. You see there, 29 damage is pretty crazy. And then stacking up multiple turns, that has 10 stacks of reverberation on it. And then they're in a good position, grouped up together for a dazzling breath, which was enough to take out one of them, and then apply 10 stacks of radiating orbs on the other. I'm going to draw this opportunity attack again because I just love seeing those misses. Yeah, that's the thing with Spirit Guardians, is you're likely going to apply a huge benefit or a huge negative to the enemy's attacks before they even get a chance to get it in your face. But we want to attack. We also can use the Fowler Alluve melody and the Shrieking Song in particular. That's not a great use of our action, but that was enough to apply radiating orbs, and for some reason ragdoll this body. They're prone for 2 turns because the Shrieking Song will further stack up the reverberation as well. So I guess we'll just go with a main hand attack on this target. That was a lot of extra damage, riders. It's kind of crazy how Shrieking Song works outside of honor mode. Yeah, 3 sources of thunder damage there. I'm having an issue with one of my mods where my my little counter or my little combat log is not appearing, but yeah, that was a pretty successful turn. And it's our turn again. One other really useful ability we have is the Champion's Challenge, which is going to force all enemies to attack us using a bonus action, so we can pop that to attract them towards us. And the Champion's Challenge will sometimes stack reverberation because it is a condition. So yeah, Boots of Stormy Clamor, stay on top. Now we got 2 actions left to use. I want to take out this target here, so I'm going to run into range, maybe taking him out by walking near him. No, it wasn't enough, but we have a lot of reverberation and damage stacked up on him. So let's go with a main hand attack there. That was enough to finish the job. We also burned through all of our spell slots, so we do have to manually select a Divine Smite if we want to use that. And we're not able to get close enough to them, but one thing that we can do is arrow many targets, because that's going to further go around stacking reverberation. If it didn't, yeah, we applied Fairy Fire, I guess, on that target. Not the best use, but we do got commands. So command approach is nice for any targets that are pesky and far away from us, so we can then hit both of these targets with it. I don't have any level 2 spell slots, so it's unfortunate, but we're going to waste one of these here, and we'll just do that there. And we were able to that was enough to knock that target prone. It's kind of funny, and it was enough to finish the job off, so we're just going to run up. That was enough. Shrieking Song, yeah. So we have 2 auras around ourselves. We have an aura for our teammates too. I've got mine broken there, unfortunately. The thing is, we got a aura protection to protect our team. We got the Shrieking Song, and we got Spirit Guardian. So that's 3 things we can use to hit the enemy with. They also cast a command, but since we have our aura protection up, we have a higher success rate, so they sometimes won't target you with any type of crowd control, which is fine. We don't have our Spirit Guardians because we got mine broken there, but one thing that we do have is some good crowd control and multiple area of effect attacks. We got Dazzling Breath here that we can use. Not a lot of damage, but that was enough to do reverberation damage. And since we're in close range, Divine Smite's probably our best choice for damage. But you can also just go with an arrow many targets there, because it's going to hit both of them. And that was enough to take out one of the targets, and then it applied the reverberation to knock them down. So then we can finish the job with a smite there to bonk, get the win. So that is the Oath of the Star Crown Paladin. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.